the LEVY'S math room. Alright, so today we are going to be looking at adding and subtracting fractions with different denominators. Now, in our last class, we looked at adding and subtracting fractions with the same denominators. Now, we are going to be looking at adding and subtracting fractions with different denominators in this class. Alright, now before we start adding and subtracting fractions with different denominators, we have to recap something before. So we're going to be looking at finding the LCM. All right. So our objectives for this class or this session is one, finding the least common multiple. Sorry, we call that the LCM. Then we are going to add fractions with different denominators, and then we are going to subtract fractions with different denominators. All right. Okay, so now let's look at finding the least common multiple. Alright, now what is the least common multiple? Now if we look here, it says the LCM or the least common multiple of a set of numbers is the smallest number that is common to those numbers that they all can be divided into exactly. Now let's look at the example. It says find the LCM of the least common multiple of 3 and 4. Alright? So we want to find the smallest number that 3 and 4 will go into without leaving a remainder. Alright? Now if we know our timetables, that will help us a lot. Alright? If we know our 3 times and our 4 times. Now, first thing we're going to do is write out all the multiples of 4. Or not all of them, but let us write out, as we have here, some of the multiples of 4. So the first multiple of any number is the number, all right? Because the number will go into itself one time. Good? So let's look at the multiples of 4. So we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and so on and so forth, all the way to infinity. Alright? So 4 will go into itself one time, 4 will go into 8 2 times, 4 will go into 12 3 times, 4 will go into 16 4 times, and 4 will go into 20 5 times. Alright? Now let's look at some of the multiples of 3. So 3 will go into itself one time, 3 will go into 6 2 times, 3 will go into 9 3 times, 3 will go into 12 4 times, 3 will go into 15 5 times, and 3 will go into 18 how many times? 6 times. 3 6 is 18. Alright, and notice that when we divide all of these numbers here by 3, they'll give us a number, a whole number. Alright, so if we say 3 into 3 one time, 3 into 6 2 times, 3 into 9 3 times, and so on and so forth, all the way to infinity. Alright, so the smallest number, then now look on both 3 and 4, look at the set of numbers that we have here and see which is common, which ones are common, and are the first one that is common to all of them, to both 3 and 4. Right? So it would be 12 here. So 12 and 12 here. Good? Now if you notice in the set, that is the first one that is common to both of them. Right? So it's the first one that's common to both of them. So it is, sorry about that. So it is that's the one the smallest. So it's the smallest number in both sets, right? That's common. So we say the least common multiple. That's how we get LCM. So they are the smallest number common to both sets. So it's the least, and they are common, and they are multiples of 4 and 3. Alright? Okay, good. So the smallest multiple common to both 3 and 4 is 12. So we say the LCM of 3 and 4 is 12. Note that there are other common multiples of both numbers, but the smallest or the least is 12. Alright? Now, if we had continued, we would have found other numbers that are common, right? But they are bigger, right? Because 4 will go into 24, 3 will also go into 24, right? 3 is 24, 4 6 is 24, right? 4 and you can add them as you go along, right? Okay. So if there are any questions, then you can just post them in the chat, and I'll address them. So again, the least we need to know our timetables to address the least common multiple, because we are going to be using that when we get to adding and subtracting fractions with different denominators or unlike denominators. All right. Okay. So let's take a look at these. Find the LCM of the set of numbers. So we have 2 and 3. Okay. Now let's do that quickly, and you can do the others for yourselves. All right. So let's write out a few of them. Let's write out some of them. So we have 2. That's some of the LCM. That's some of the multiples of 2. Remember, we say the multiples would be numbers larger than 2, or from beginning at 2, that 2 will divide into exactly. Alright, or without leaving a remainder. So multiples of 2 would be 2, right? 4, 6, right? And we could stop there. Let's look down now at multiples of 3. So it's a different color. Alright, so we have 3. The multiples of 3 would have what? 3 would begin with 3, because 3 can go into itself one time. Then we have 6, right? And then we have 9. Good. Now let's see. Now there are others. Right? Just note that there are others, right? So the list is not exhausted. We just stop there because if you notice, we see 2 numbers that are common to both sets. Alright? So we have multiples of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and so on. Multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and so on. Good? So we see that 2 and 3 can go into 6 without leaving a remainder. 2 and 3 can go into 6 here again without leaving a remainder. Alright? So we say 6 is the LCM, or the least common multiple, of 2 and 3. Alright? Because it couldn't be 2, because 2 is smaller than 3, so 3 will not go into 2 without leaving a remainder. It can't go into 2 because it is smaller. 2 is smaller than 3, right? 3 will not go into 4 exactly. It's going to leave a remainder. It's going to be 1 time remainder 1. Same thing over here. 2 will go into 3, but you're going to have a remainder, right? So it's 2 and remainder 1. 2 will also go into 9, but it will not be exactly. You're going to have a remainder as well. You're going to have 4 remainder 1. Alright? So the LCM of 2 and 3 would be 6. Good? And then you can do the rest for yourself. Okay, good. Now let's look at adding fractions with different denominators. Right? Now we have, let me use different color ink. Let me use the blue. Alright. So then we are going to add fractions with different denominators. So we have 3/5 plus 2/3. Right? 3/5 plus 2/3. So in this case, we note that the denominators are different. Right? So sorry about that. Let me use my pointer. Good. So the denominators here are different. So we have 5 and 3. So the denominators are 5 and 3, and the fractions are 3/5 and 2/3. Good. Now we need now to find the LCM of 5 and 3. Or I want to find the smallest number that 3 and 5 can be divided into without leaving a remainder. Okay. Now, one other thing that we can do, if we just go back to the previous slide, we would notice that, okay, all right, we would notice that if we multiply, when we just did the LCM for 2 and 3, if we multiplied 2 and 3, that would give us 6, right? And that 6 would be the least common multiple. Alright. Now, same thing when you look at the multiples of 3 and 4, the LCM of 3 and 4 we say is 12. And if we multiply, 3 by 4, we get 12. Now, the same thing can apply here. If I multiply 3 by 5, that gives me 15. And the LCM of the least common multiple of 3 and 5 is actually 15. Alright? So 3 and 15, 15 is the smallest number that 3 and 5 can be divided into without leaving a remainder. So we draw a line there, and we put our LCM here, right? Then we say we're going to now divide the LCM by the denominators one by one, all right? So we divide the LCM, this 15, by 5, and then we multiply that by, let me use my pointer, keep forgetting. All right, so we have our denominator, or our least common multiple, as 15. Then we have our denominator 3 and 5. So we are going to be dividing the LCM here by the denominators, and then we are going to multiply whatever we get there by the numerators, right? Individually, that is. Good. So let's go. So we say 15 divided by 5, or how many times can we get 5 out of 15? That would be 3. And then 3 times 9 is, 3 times 3 is 9. Alright? Okay, let's write that. So we say 9. So 5 into 15 is 3, and then 3 times 3 is 9. Good? Remember, we're adding, so we put our plus sign back there. Then, let me get my pointer again. Then we are going to say 15 divided by 3, or how many times can we get 3 out of 15? That would be 5. And then we are going to say 5 times 2 gives us 10. Right? So 5 2s, 10. Good. So then we are going to add these numbers. So it would be 9 plus 10, which gives us 19. So that would be 19 over 15. Now what do you notice? Okay, now notice that our numerator is larger than the denominator. Right? So the numerator is larger than the denominator. So we say this is what type of fraction? We say it is an improper fraction. Right? Now we can simplify this by doing what? by dividing 19 by 15. So we are going to see how many times we can get 15 out of 19. Right? So we can get 15 out of 19 one time and remainder 4. So we can write that as 1 and 4 15th. Right? So we'll write it as a mixed fraction. Right? So from an improper fraction to a mixed fraction. Right? Now let's look at the other fraction here. Let me use another color ink. So this time I'm going to use my purple. Good. So again, we draw our line like that. Then we look at let me get my pointer. We look at the denominators again. So denominators here are 2 and 4. Now we are going to see what is the least common multiple of 2 and 4. Now in this case, notice if we multiplied 2 by 8, right? 2 by 4, sorry, that's going to give us 8, right? But the LCM of 2 and 4 in this case is what? 4, because 2 can go into 4 and 4 can go into itself one time, alright? So we can say then that the LCM of 2 and 4 is 4. Right? So put our 4 here. Remember, it's the least common multiple that we want. And then we're going to do the same thing like we did previously. So we say 4 divided by 2, or 2 into 4. How many times can we get 2 out of 4? 2 times. Alright, so then we said 2 times 1 is 2. Remember, we divide the LCM by the denominator. Whatever we get there, we multiply that by the numerator. Alright, so now we are going to say 4 into 4, or 4 divided by 4 is 1 time, and then 1 times 3 is 3. Alright, so that would be 3. And then we're going to say 2 plus 3 is equal to what? 5. And notice again that we have what? 5 over 4. We have 5 over 4. Writing that in the simplest form, or writing it as a mixed number, would give us what? We are going to say we can get 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 how many times? 1 time. Right, so we're saying 5 divided by 4. We have 1. We can get 1 out of 4 out of 5 1 time, and remainder 1. So that's 4 and 1/4. Now what's another? How else can we say 1/4? We say it is a quarter. Alright? So 1 and a quarter. And then you can do the other one for yourself. Alright, so you can try that one on your own. Good. Now let's look at the. Alright, so in this slide we are looking at subtracting fractions with different denominators. Now the principle remains the same. Alright, the principle remains the same as adding fractions with different denominators. The only difference in this case is that we are subtracting. Alright, so we still have to go ahead and find the LCM of 8 and 3. So 8 and 3. Now what I want you to do is come up with your own strategy of finding the LCM. Alright, in some instances you can multiply the denominators together to come up with your LCM. Right, if that doesn't work, then you can always explore other means and ways of finding them. Alright, so in this case, if we multiply the denominators together, notice that there we have even and an even. Right, so this is a prime number, this is an even number. Alright? And so we multiply them together, and that will give us the least common multiple. Alright? So let's go ahead. So the least common multiple of 8 and 3 is 24. 3 8 24. Alright? Good. Now we are going to go ahead and we are going to divide. We are going to say, sorry, 8 into 24. How many times can we get 8 out of 24? 3 times. And then we say 3 times 7 is 21. Alright? So we have 21 minus, we are subtracting this time. And then we are going to say do the same thing again. So we say 3 into 24. How many times can we get 3 out of 24? 8 times. And then we say 8 times 2 is 16. Alright? So we now have 21 subtract 16. Now 21 subtract 16 gives us what? 21 from 21 minus 16 will give us 5. Right? So we have 5 over 24. That's our answer. And then you can go ahead and work on the others for yourselves. Alright? So you have 4/5 minus a half. So the LCM here would be 10. And the LCM here would be 3 6s 18. No, or 12. Right? 6 can go into 12, and 3 can also go into 12. Alright? 3 into 12 4 times, 6 into 12 2 times. Alright? Alright, so you can go ahead and you can work on those for yourselves. Now you can go to this site here, and you can find many worksheets, or you can just go to your textbooks and you can work on some problems there. Just find some problems in your textbook and work on them. All right, and like I said before, for math you have to practice. It's important that you practice. All right, so just practice. If there are any questions that you want me to answer, you can just put them in the comment section and I'll get to them for you. Alright, so blessings, and remember to subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and share the content with your friends. Alright, so blessings, see you next time. Bye.